This is Josiah Plays Sunless Sea Zubmariner Expansion. Alright, we're at Khan's Shadow and we have just saved our game here. We've just dropped in to say hi. And we're gonna go ahead. Our hull's not looking good, but we're just gonna go ahead and go down the Unterzee again. We descend to the depths. And we're gonna head south and see what we can find from here. I'm already crashing into... I'm already wrecking my hull. Underwater settlement some distance to the southwest. We've got some coral up here. Rose Gate. What's that thing? Oh, it's a beloved. We've already killed a couple of those. I don't see much reason to fight another one at this point. Something interesting's happening here. I can dock. Alright, we have found our first underwater port. The temperature changes abruptly. Your helmsman complains about goosebumps. Rose Gate. It's not so much a port as a shop with a dock. Colored ceiling lights shine onto display cases lighting the walls. A large shop counter dominates the room. Cigars, ashtrays, guillotines, matches, and carved boxes are all for sale. Each step here transports you into a new realm. At one moment, the heady aroma of summer flowers. Then, the earthy fug of fungus. The bitter warmth of morning coffee. The sickening sweetness of sweat and midnight honey. Go away! We're closed! The crotchety tobacconist sits smoking behind the shop counter. The ashtray next to him is stacked with cigar butts. I cannot assist you until my apprentice returns. Well, where did his apprentice go? We can also sample a high-quality cigar. A rosewood box full of cigars sits on the counter. They smell of beeswax. That costs 12 echoes. We can also take a pamphlet. Neatly printed histories of the shop are stacked high on one of the display cases. A notice encourages visitors to take one. Let's take a pamphlet. Self-published plaudits. The pamphlet describes Rosegate as a cigar shop, with a factory on the upper floor. True. Here they produce and sell an unparalleled variety of cigars. Also true. The tobacconist is described as a world-renowned figure, respected for his dedication to his craft and the brilliance of his creative vision. The pamphlet boasts that his genius will forever alter the tobacconist's art. Well, that remains to be proven. I now have a port report of Rosegate, factory, emporium, and home of the underwater cigar. Should I, Let's try talking to the crotchety tobacconist. Sent him on an errand. He just had to collect a parcel from... where was it? Either the Empire of Hands or the Tomb Colonies. He sits up and stretches. His joints crack loudly. I have very important work, and I can't continue without him. Please, unless you've news of the boy, leave me be. Empire of Hands or the Tomb Colonies. Let's try sampling one of these cigars. I should have saved as soon as I got here, before I started fucking around. Alright, let's try sampling one of these cigars. The crotchety tobacconist cuts you a cigar and lights it. You draw slowly, your mouth fills with a flavored fog, heavy on the tongue, like honey liqueur. The tobacconist smiles. Your mouth will start to burn soon. Tolerate it. It's a transition phase before something rather refreshing. See what I mean? Just hold. Lost 12 echoes, but also lost 3 terror. Alright, I guess we're done here. So we should look into the Empire of Hands and or the Tomb Colonies to see if we can find this fellow's. Now, Rosegate appears on the map, but have over here. Heard an interesting sound. Soda's picked up an underwater settlement a long way to the northwest. The air is stale and off-duty crewman keens softly. The witherweed damages our hull. Oh, great. Found some more torpedo components. Ah, more damage to the hull. Oh, look at this place. Wow, that looks ominous. Scrimshander. Like it's all scully. I'm already crashing into shit. Here's Scrimshander. Before you looms the Bone Tower of Scrimshander, the City of Remembrance. Ivory structures jut from the pile, supported by buttressing tusks. As your light plays across them, you can make out inscriptions, names, pictures, and dozens of lost languages. The largest ones carry a warning. All are welcome to enter, but none may depart without leaving something of themselves behind. We can accept the price and dock. A drowny floats before the docking gate of a bone cathedral. She wears a cowl and carries a ceremonial key carved from a femur. At your approach, she sings a solemn greeting. Soldier, scholar, servant of art, history welcomes without toll. But be warned ere you depart, none who enter escape whole. Beware, you will have to pay a price to depart from Scrimshander. Why not? Let's give it a shot. We just saved. A cowed crew. The Guardian unlocks the ivory gates. Steel glints in her fingers as she carves an image of your ship into her massive bone key. Your brave crew decides to remain on the ship as you disembark for the tower's dry center. You have been to Scrimshander, the City of Remembrance. Don't say history as if there's merely one of them. An occurrence. Your Scrimshander Tides of Time quality is now 1. Drowny scholars believe that history is a never-ending cycle of trends and social forces. A wise historian learns to sail each era's turbulent tides. Scrimshander history of heroes quality is now 2. The Chelonnet hunters believe history is the result of heroic words and deeds. A wise historian learns from their actions and embraces their heroism. You walk down a damp nave of bone. Intricately carved ivory walls depict improbable scenes from history. The walls are edged in tiny finger bones, each bearing a single name. Inhabitants wear ashen robes and carry steel-tipped bone quills, but you recognize most as drownies or Chelonnet expatriates. While most are quiet and ignore visitors, you hear heated arguments over interpretations of the sacred remains. Sacred remains which will include whatever you leave behind when you depart. Alright, we've got lots of options here. We can take note of a veiled woman. A middle-aged woman in a veiled hat is staring at you, waiting for you to notice and listen to her. We can assist an ancient chronicler. A bandaged monk sits, attempting to carve a tale with a steel-tipped quill. This does not work for a trembling hand. That takes something awaits me. We can gather at the stage of history. Scholars file quietly into a pair of great ivory doors at the far end of the hallway. When they stumble out again, you can hear raised voices, arguments, and laughter. We could delve into the ivory archives, but we need time in the archives. At least 5 points is recommended. We don't have any points. We can compile a port report. Consider it an ongoing history of the present. Let's do that. Few visitors, fewer departures. The inhabitants of Scrimshander spend much of their time preying on the mysteries of the past. They spend almost as much time arguing about their interpretations. Salted residents often collect nearby salvage, studying the results and inscribing their interpretations on any skeletal remains. But those who leave too often are easily recognized by what they have left behind in their travels: memories, personalities, and bones. Otherwise, they rarely consider the present, certainly not with the same focus they give to the histories buried within their tower. Recent world events are met with polite silence, unless it prompts an anecdote about similarities with antiquity. Apart from old grudges and new theories, very little changes here. We now have a port report Scrimshander, the city of memory where history is a battleground. Let's take note of a veiled woman. The Imperious Sister's Tale. She pushes a sheaf of papers into an oversized case and bustles towards you. I have been all over Scrimshander, and I can find no sign of my brother's writing, or any inscription about him, she says. Which is strange, because I was most definitely assured he had come here. Meanwhile, I made certain promises of a pecuniary nature, which mean that I am not at liberty to leave Scrimshander again for a few days. So I turn to you. Could you assist me? Are your services for hire? It is a matter of family loyalty, of the ties of blood. An occurrence. Your Eye Ghoul, commissioned to retrieve a regret, quality is now 5. Stop to listen to the Imperious Sister. The Imperious Sister has asked you to investigate the regrets of her brother. Oh, that's a cool looking image. The woman is no longer exactly youthful, but she speaks passionately from under her veil. Perhaps she has studied heroines on the stage. I need help to be reconciled with my dear brother. I will listen to what she wants. She is very urgent to speak with you. She has a brother who is dear to her, a sensitive soul, very reserved. He used to work for the Admiralty. Something happened to distress him there. When I asked him about it, he said that I had enough to worry about with my own concerns. My husband was ill at the time, but I could help him, if he would only permit me to know his troubles. For, you know, she puts a hand on her heart, bearing one another's burdens is what makes us truly good. She tells you that you'll need to go to Aigul, the city of regrets, find her brother's regret, and return it to her. She will pay, gladly. Polly, who's now 10, received a commission. She's asked you to investigate the regrets of her brother. Alright, so we have a quest. Let's try assisting an ancient chronicler. A day dictated. The monk describes a day in the life of a tomb colonist. While you wield the quill, its nib carves the bone easily as if it were mushroom flesh. We're carving history into bone with a steel-tipped quill. Pretty interesting. The tale is dry, but he insists it be recorded for posterity. Few tomb colonists come to share their tales, a historical blind spot he laments at length. When the work is finished, he invites you to see further tales in the Ivory Archives as his guest. We succeeded in the challenge, and we now have 2 times Scrimshander time in the archives. The Ivory Archives are jealously guarded. Like most of the figures in the archives, anyone overstaying their welcome is likely to meet a grisly end. And now we're back at this. That's weird. I don't think we had to pay any price. I think we could just leave now. Just save on 10 real quick. Keep sailing. This is like bugged out or something. We're getting sucked into some sort of undersea current. I want to try going in this place again. Roughing up the hull some more. Doing a whole bunch more hull damage. I'm going to wait until I have something that awaits me again. I feel like what just happened there wasn't really what was supposed to happen at the end of that thing. Diving suit floats past a glass. Save on 11 here. Accept the price and dock. And now we can wander the halls, or we can gather at the stage of history, or we can delve into the archives, but we've only got 2, which doesn't seem like enough points. Let's gather at the stage of history and see what that does. To the amphitheater. After the reverent silence of the outside, the boisterous noise of the amphitheater washes over you like the heavy sea beyond these walls. The stage of history. Actors strut in an amphitheater of bone, performing historical plays of dubious veracity. An audience watches from below, with each roaring drunk member applauding or jeering different details of the work. Above, an imperious figure wearing a crown of ivory judges each performance from a raised theater box. All are served by a single man, weaving between the crowd and wearing a perpetual smirk. So they've got the theater king here. We've got a lot of options here. We can talk with the glib historian. The mushroom wine he serves is stale. The plays he announces are questionable at best. But the impeccably bearded man with the olive skin laughs at every performance and has a smile for every patron. So we could talk with him. We could watch a heroic play. The Chell and its champions promised the tale of a lone hero who changed the course of history, based on historical evidence. Cost 50 echoes. We could trade coffee for time in the archives, but we don't have any coffee. We could trade wine for time in the archives, but we don't have any wine. We could agree to search the ivory archives for a pattern. The drowny chorus sits dejectedly in the corner, griping about the hero worship on display. They'll pay well if you can research the societal context to the figures on stage. Let's talk to the glib historian first. Whirring theories on the stage of history. Some cheer history as the work of brave and inspired heroes, especially them who wish they could be heroes themselves. The glib historian rolls his eyes theatrically. Others say it's all shaped by cyclical changes in scientific progress, economics, and such. But nothing gets in the way of a good story quite like nuance. He spits out the word like a rotten grape. We let him argue up on the stage and give an ivory crown to whoever's most convincing at the moment. He waves a hand at the temporary monarch in the raised seat above. But as far as I'm concerned, he confides, filling a patron's mug with cheap wine, history is what you make of it, and I make a killing. You've learned enough about history to distrust any one person's interpretation. Don't say history as if there's merely one of them. Talking to him again does the same thing. Should we watch a play? It costs 50 echoes, but what the hell? Often enjoyable, occasionally accurate. Truly, this is what heroes are made of. Courage, charm, and an ample capacity for violence. The moral is clearly defined. The prop horses are surprisingly well painted. How considerate of history to provide such an exemplar of heroism. The crowd roars its approval and keeps the glib historian busy with demands for more wine. His efforts to serve the unruly lot deserve a play of their own. Lost 50 echo, lost 10 terror. I guess we'll agree to search the ivory archives for a patron, or for a pattern. The quest for context. Heroes are merely the products of their time. These fools celebrate a pearl and ignore the oyster that made it. Help us tell a more responsible tale and we put things right. For now, at least. You seek ancient knowledge in the ivory archives. Heroes come and go, cast up by turbulent times and washed away by the next tide. The drowny chorus in Scrimshaw's amphitheater will pay you handsomely to uncover these patterns from the tales in the ivory archives. Alright, we'll leave the amphitheater. Leave them to their drinks and debates. Back to the quiet of the crypt. You leave the noise and the stale wine behind. So now we're back here. We still don't have enough points, really, that I want to go into the ivory archives yet. So let's try wandering the halls. The higher in the tower, the more recent the tales. Perhaps they can be useful? A familiar tale. The simple houses are built with bricks of ash and bone dust. Each bears a finely graved story, from the mundane to the profane. Some bricks tell the same tales from different and contradictory sources. You spend a quiet hour reading the side of a derelict house. A handful of its tales are suspiciously familiar. Gained a terror and 10 fragments. What if I do it again? Same thing. Gained a terror and 10 fragments. Alright, well I think we're done here for right now. No one departs without leaving something of themselves behind. Be ready. Departing. Were there quite this many guards when you came in? Was there always a pile of fresh bones by the entrance? Oh shit. This looks like it's gonna be ugly. No one may depart Scrimshander without leaving something of themselves behind by which to be remembered. Tradition demands it, as do the muscular guards at the gate. Their sharpened bone quills are at the ready to collect your donation. We can provide transport for a scholar. A bandaged scholar stands near the exit, angrily brushing ash off of himself. At your approach, he brusquely demands passage to Hideaway. Of course he'll pay. Okay, we can leave behind a story. You can always make more with 5Z stories. We can leave behind a past triumph. It was dearly earned, only fair that it be dearly spent, with a hunting trophy. We can leave behind vitality. Stack bricks of bone and ash to build the tower and earn your leave. We can sacrifice a point of iron. No. Leave behind your warmth. You don't really need it down here, do you? Sacrifice a point of hearts. We can leave something a little more tangible. One guard carries a butcher's cleaver. With a shudder, you recall how many finger bones decorate the tower. I don't want to leave behind a finger. Let's provide transport for a scholar. In search of history's losers. He studied remains of 100 wars and read 1,000 bitter ends. Now he seeks the survivors so he can interview them in person. He assures you it's a purely academic interest. His life has been splendid, personally. He merely wishes to see how they live with themselves. The scholar of lost causes grumbles as he settles into his bunk, ready for the trip to Hideaway. He's seen what people have fought and died for, and now he seeks the ones who survived at Hideaway. Alright, well, if only I knew where Hideaway was. I still have to leave behind one of these things. I guess a hunting trophy is probably the best thing to get rid of right now. Or maybe 5Z stories. Those are pretty easy to replace, I guess. I'll leave behind a story. You can always make more. A block of memories. You take a deep breath of bittersweet incense and recount your tales. As you speak, a chronicler carves your words onto bricks of ash and bone powder. The bone's quills scratching grates and the incense stings your eyes, but you continue. By the time you've finished, your head aches and the chronicler holds a handful of bricks. Before returning to your ship, you examine one. It bears your name and a short tale. But it isn't a memory of yours. You'd remember anything that outlandish. Best to leave before they realize the mistake they've made. You've lost 5Z stories. You've left a part of yourself behind for the ivory tower at Scrimshander. Alright, let's keep sailing. Let's save on 12. And we're gonna get out of here. I wonder where a settlement some distance to the northwest. I don't have a lot of fuel left. Maybe I should head back toward London. I mean, ish. An abyss. Chasm gapes below your Zubmarine, descending into unknown fathoms. Let's explore the abyss. We've read this before. The Abyss of Scriptures. Your submarine's lights illuminate bas-reliefs carved into the walls of the chasm. They depict men and women rowing from a sunless city, then far at sea scuppering their ships. Symbols etched into the walls flicker with fire. We can record their messages. A true sailor may survive reading these etchings, they say. This rite will increase your hearts by 20, but decrease your iron by 10. We can depart, or we can try diving deeper. Let's try diving deeper. Fathomless Church, we've been here before. Or it's a different ritual, though, than the one before. Perform the ritual of greeting. The church's niches all possess the same decorations. Statues of men and women standing before a door, bells in their hands. Follow their example. Performing the habitual rituals in the correct order will lead to a discovery. Let's try it. You don your diving gear. You swim into the nave. Your bubbles float upward, toward the tiled floor. Though the mosaic is entirely black, there is form in its formlessness. At the end of the aisle is an archway. Inside, a kelp rope floats upward from a deep chasm. When it drifts within reach, you snatch it and pull. A great weight moves at the other end. You pull again. It rings out. Once, twice, thrice. The waters stir. A strong current throws you into the nave and carries you back out the mouth of the church. You have made yourself known. She waits in the dark. So I wonder if that was the one we were supposed to do first, but I don't know how many of these Abyss churches there are, or how many of these rituals there are, or which ones we're supposed to do next, or anything, but we're going to depart. Hold on. Oh, that's an explosive. We shouldn't sail into that. Leave that alone. What's this over here? Nook. Is that like a giant... like a giant maw? A dull tolling echoes around the bridge, a distress bell now fading. Ooh. Teeth. It is a giant maw, the yawning maw. A scattered assembly of traders, smugglers, and shoppers. You can sell sunlight-filled mirror catch boxes for 7 caskets of sapphires here. Sell bolts of spider silk. You can buy torpedo components. Ooh, fuel's actually pretty cheap here. And supplies, too. Not bad. The edge of Nook. Look at that. It's like a giant undersea death worm. Like the fucking Sarlacc or some shit. It's this big mouth. The edge of Nook. A gap in this colossal sea monster's throat has been forced open with thick heart metal beams. They strain under the pressure, but hold. As you pass through, your submarine lights pass over a message carved in a floating piece of some unfortunate's hull. Beyond is Nook. Beyond is freedom. Beyond is... The rest is scratched out. Alright, shall we enter Nook? Just gonna save right here. Water presses against the airlock door. The breathing and slithering of the beast gives it the rhythm of a drum beat. The effects of prolonged stays in Nook can be reduced in Igul, where memories are sacrificed. So Nook's obviously not a great place. Trespasser in Freedom. You don your heavy diving suit and give the order to cycle the airlock. Water rushes in and you begin the slow swim down into the port. It soon becomes obvious that you are overdressed for the occasion. The people of Nook swim and breathe in the cloudy maw water with no apparent discomfort. Most are naked, with just a few clad in rotten rags that stream from their skin with no concern for modesty. None will communicate with you, if they even can. Those who acknowledge your presence just laugh silently at your bulky suit and unnecessary air hose. You'll need a different approach. It can leave a bitter aftertaste. Taste of freedom. Alright, let's try descending naked into Nook. At least you're unlikely to run into anyone you know. You undress. Every button, every stitch. The door opens. Ice-cold water rushes upwards. Instinct holds your mouth shut. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. Your lungs burn, holding in that last gulp of air. Your legs thrash. You can't hold it in. It escapes. You're choking on water. It forces its way into your lungs. The taste of burning salt suffocating every attempt to gasp, scream, or... Then, through the exhaustion and panic, you realize you're breathing. It's hard work. Your lungs fight against the weight. But it's enough. You can tolerate it, at least for now. The liberal application of wine will make this process easier. In future, bring a cask. The beast quivers with distaste at your trespass. Freedom is never stagnant. The waves are flecked with light. Nook taste of freedom is now 3. Nook tolerance for Nook water quality is now 3. The more of it you breathe, the less you remember air. Wow. A torn, pinned-back cavity in the flesh wall offers access to the city's monstrous host. Razor-sharp teeth the size of buildings jut from fatty, garnet-red flesh. Many teeth have been quarried out into homes, barricaded by scraps of wood from shipwrecks. So this is a pretty crazy place. Why would they build a settlement inside a sea monster? Swim upwards to the Great Maw. This increases as you do more in Nook, but the more you do in Nook, the more Nook will change you. Attempt to mingle with the Nick folk. They may be friendlier now that you're fashionably undressed. Compile a port report. No one here has anything to hide. Actually, no one here is hiding anything at all. Notes on Nook. A vile place, festering, acidic. No laws but those of tooth and claw written in scars. Civilization? Impossible. Making tea would be a logistical impossibility. Yet the inhabitants seem content. Many have come here from London, the Khanate, the Presbyteriate, abandoning cultured life for this tenuous existence. They grin, their mouths full of stolen flesh, or float naked and carefree. Many have nothing, and nothing to lose. A group of swimmers dart past, hunting gleefully. One squeezes your shoulder companionably. You've never met her before. This place is kind of creepy. What are these people doing here? A great mouth in the Z floor, home to a lawless aquatic culture. Take from the weak. There is only one law here, survival of the fittest. Unfortunately, my taste of freedom quality only gives me a 20% chance of success. I can return to the Submarine, better not leave the crew waiting too long, or I can swim downwards to the serrated abyss. Let's try to mingle with the Nook folk. Lost in freedom. They acknowledge your presence, but little more. Most shrink back, assuming you mean harm. Others deliberately swim just above you in a crude attempt at intimidation. They carry bone knives or tooth-tipped spears. A few gesture to you. In welcome? Invitation? It is unclear. The slightly glutinous water makes speech impossible, so the natives have developed a language of signs. You can interpret the most basic. A finger pulled across a throat, for example, is one of the more polite invitations to depart. Nook tolerance for Nook water has gone down to 1. Taste of freedom has gone to 5. Let's try swimming downwards to the serrated abyss and see what happens. Down here, the water is cloudy. It's green streaked by dissipating patches of coppery red. Only a few teeth still protrude from the walls. Instead, razor-sharp hairs line them, rippling gently in the current. I can swim back up. I can trade Sunless fruit for phosphorescent nodules. They would be a rare treat for the Nook folk. I do have a Sunless fruit. I can sample some Nook weed. Circle of Nook folk scrape what looks like a thin algae from the smaller teeth and chew it like snuff. Their eyes flutter, then bulge, brimming with visions. Only got a 30% chance on that. I can take a moment's rest. All this swimming is exhausting. Or I can keep swimming downwards. Let's try trading Sunless fruit for phosphorescent nodules. Sweetness and light. As expected, the Nook folk flock to take all the fruit you have to offer. They freely give up their nodules for a taste of the delightful juice. I've lost a Sunless fruit. My tolerance for Nook water has gone down to 0. But now I have 20 phosphorescent nodules. It glows softly, enough to light your way in Nook. Apparently I'm drowning. Or I can swim up to the ruptured throat. Let's swim up. Time to leave. Your lungs, unaccustomed to breathing water, are beginning to labor. You must return to your ship. Old habits. There, the bright light of your submarine's main beam. The airlock. Home. You swim into the airlock and alert the crew. Air flows in. You retch the last of the Nook water from your lungs. Return to the crew. Air again. How refreshing. The crew salutes as you pass. Good. All is well. Anything that happened in Nook shall remain in Nook. What happens in Nook stays in Nook. Check the diving suit. Strictly speaking, you don't need it here, but it couldn't hurt. All in excellent condition. Lady Black can wrap her fingers around another captain's throat. For now, though, it doesn't matter. Nook and its foul but breathable waters await. I can return to Nook. You have the measure of the place now, and you have learned that the liberal ingestion of wine before a visit increases your tolerance for Nook water. So I would need to bring a cask of mushroom wine if I want to check out Nook again. Alright, I should buy some fuel. Well, I don't know if I should buy... Am I going to just head to London now? Because I guess if I'm just heading back to London, I don't need to buy any fuel or anything here. Let's just go. What is this? It's a friendly putter pony. I like it when I see other ships and they don't try to kill me. I'm gonna go back to the surface for a second. Ah, it's a light ship. No landlubber would notice the change, but you feel the air prickle on your skin. Somewhere new. We'll speak to the crew. We'll get a Z story. Lose 5 terror. Alright, we'll go back down. And we'll take our ass back to London. But through the undersea way. That swirly light stuff, I'm just not really sure what it is. I sail through it and nothing seems to happen. There's the Mo Island right there. More glowy business. Lights glance past the windows. Another submarine? And again I crash into some shit. There's another abyss. I wonder if... Ritual of Hearths might be the second one that I need to do. Let's try it. You don your diving gear. Kilns line the floor above you, all bricked up. But at the end of the nave, violent fire playfully licks out of a kiln. The firing chamber is just large enough to accommodate you. It is blisteringly hot. Nevertheless, you commend yourself to the fires. Your suit preserves your flesh from burning, but the flames search for a way in. They press against your helmet's glass, blinding you. They seep through, searing you. They dance across your face and spread. As the last part of you is engulfed, the flame dies. The kiln goes dark. You swim to your submarine. The sea is not as cold as it was. Are you still what you were? You have purified yourself. She waits in the dark. Alright, so my rights is up to 2 now. So I think we've done the first 2 in the correct order now. We just need to find the rest of them. With every meter climbed, you feel the probability of you meeting an untimely death decline from absolutely certain to just likely. Alright, we're done here. Alright, we made it back to London. We've got some very interesting port reports to turn in now. Places I'm sure he's never even heard of. Messages from the harbor master. Back to London. Manual save. Alright, Roser's Wharf. Moves in the Great Game. Watchful Curios. Spectacled Visitor. We've done moves in the Great Game before. Alright, let's go ahead and grab 1 cheap Zailor. And let's go ahead and Go to our lodgings. Read the morning papers. Spend time with the family. Enjoy their company. The Admiral. Court reports. Alright, Nuncio. Of course, nothing new there. Pond Shadow, nothing new there. Now, the weird ones. Rosegate. I bought his cigars when he was still in London. What's he doing down there? 35 echoes, an Admiralty's favor, and a fuel. Nook. So, you've been to the Great Maw, have you? So this guy, he has heard of these places. Report submitted. No clothes at all. Wild orgies. Fights to the death in the altogether? The secretary glows crimson as he stares at your report. Tell me everything. Slowly. 50 echoes, a favor, and a fuel. And one more, Scrimshander. First-hand report from the depths of history, eh? Nothing too candid, I trust. 55 echoes, a fuel, and a favor. Alright, cool. Where's this scholar that I picked up to take to... He's like not in my hold? I'm a little bit surprised. Mission to retrieve a regret. Huh. It will heal when you rest in your lodgings. I should probably get rid of that wound. Scholar of Lost Causes is shown there, but... Submarine secret. Alright, cool. I need to repair my hull. And I need to refuel and resupply. Suppose that's it, really. I can spend 75 and maybe repair to full. I can spend 25 and definitely repair to full, but spend 3 of my Admiral favors. Let's go ahead and do that. Pulls back up to 300. Do I have anything to sell? Not really. Oh, I need to take some mushroom wine. I need to buy some mushroom wine. Buy like 6 of them. And let's buy Some fuel. Some supplies. I didn't need quite that many supplies. Alright, leave a little bit of free cargo space. Alright, I think I'm good to go here. I'm repaired, I'm fueled, I'm supplied. So let's save. We'll head back out, and I got some mushroom wine. Alright. I should go up and look at the tomb colonies and see if the person that I was supposed to seek out, the apprentice of the whatever guy. I mean, I'll head up toward the tomb colonies underwater to see what I can discover under the sea on my way there, of course. So in our next episode, we will head up to the north. I wish the map would indicate in some way which things were underwater and which... I mean, I can remember Nook and Scrimshanner and Rosegate are underwater, but it'd be nice if there was any kind of indication. Cure wound. Ah, good idea. How you doing, Loose what name? Alright, we're gonna rest in the townhouse. Real quick. Sleep early, rise late. Take the air in Tyrant's Gardens. Take coffee at Caligula's Coffee House. Take advantage of a Z captain's reputation. You could get used to this. Lost 100 echoes. Lost 5 terror. Lost a wound. Gained a couple restful nights. My yearning burning thing changed. Alright, cool. Now we're definitely done and ready to get out of here. So next episode we'll head up north toward the tomb colonies while also seeing what we can discover underwater between now here and there. Gonna do it for this one. Thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Zubmariner, Sunless Sea, Zubmariner DLC expansion.